So I think if I take a 3 to 5 year view, so what happened with the internet? I don't know if, I mean, a lot of you would have already seen that, right? So the amount of data or the amount of emails, information that we exchange with each other went into trillions of messages, right? So that must be having hundreds of billions of messages must be passing in a very, very short amount of time, right? But before that, pre-internet, the amount of data that you to exchange between people was very, very small because it used to be expensive to essentially exchange data. And you would see that happening in the payments as well. The average size of the payment will drop dramatically. The price that you would pay for the payments will almost be negligible, and you would see huge number of payments essentially just taking off, which is essentially democratized payments. And I'll just want to take a very quick use case. So let's assume you want to read Financial Times or Wall Street Journal, right? You want to read an article, you're not a subscriber. What happens? You hit a paywall, right? You essentially say, Financial Times will say, pay me $60, and Ahmed, then you can read the article. But Ahmed says, I just want to read that article on DMCC. I don't want to read anything else. And I'm happy to pay you 10 fills for that article, but there is no way he can. And Financial Times is leaving hundreds of millions of users like Ahmed, but there is no payment system in the world that can collect 10 cents, 10 fills from Ahmed and give it to FT. And that's going to change. So a lot of use cases around micropayments, things that you can't imagine, will start to happen. And this will unleash a new wave of productivity, a new wave of the internet of value that we call, that will get unleashed. So it's not too far away, because once you get past the critical mass, it essentially moves on in a hockey step approach. And that's what we are looking forward to, and that's what we are driving.
Amazing. So I would ask anyone who has any question, please. I think this is a lovely panel.
Thank you. I'm Saskia Wilder. Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Okay. I'm Saskia Wilder, Minister of Economic Affairs of Suriname. Suriname is part of the Caribbean community. And in the Caribbean community, it's a trade zone, an economic trade zone, where most of the member states still have their own central banks and their own currency. Two questions. What do you see the role of bitcoins, etc., could be within freeing up the space of making trade more efficient, as most of the member countries don't accept each other's currency, but they expect US dollars for trade within the community? That's one. And where do you see the role of the central banks? Because the central banks used to issue currency, local currency before, based on the amount of gold. But we know that has become less and less prevalent. What is the role of the central bank within this, and how do you see these opportunities of digital or bitcoins to free up trade within such a community? That's my question.
It's a very good and tricky question. I would ask who would like to answer, because
Sure. It's the reality we live in. The people make the market. People will go to where the least resistant is. So if the dollar is crashing crazily down into a black hole, I'm getting concerned myself. Why should I keep my money in a dollar-denominated account now? I'm thinking to buy art. I used to think people who buy art are posh people and want to show off. No, now I understand that the asset's value stays where it is. It doesn't depreciate. This art that I have at home is not getting reprinted crazily, and we know it's going to be reprinted a lot because there's war and etc. So during war, people move to gold, move to diamonds, and yeah, crypto is very easy, very fast, and safer. It doesn't get seized. People are getting educated. The information is flowing all over. So the central bank needs to be aware where things are at. If not, then as one quote is from the Swedish guy that says, Bitcoin will do to banks what the email did to the postal office. So what the central banks should do, they need to be ahead of that. Maybe semi-stable coins, stable coins, but you'll need to work it out. We're already using cards that says we have this much amount in our account. We trust that. But, I'm someone that loves Cyprus. I have a lot of friends in Cyprus. But Cyprus Bank and Lyco Bank took deposits and never returned them because they had financial issues. They got sued, and the people that sued them did not win. It's over. So, it's a matter of time. You need to be ready for it. That's my view.
I think that's very valid because it's all about, at the end of the day, demand and supply and how much acceptance this takes. And I think you made a right point. Between the countries, this can emerge as a fungible currency between the two countries to accept.
And if I may, Arshid, just one
Yeah.
final point. The number of central banks that we're speaking to at the moment who are exploring this very question, they're well aware. They're very, very well aware, and they're actively exploring exactly what the question you just described. How do they stay relevant, and what do they do to stay relevant as this space develops? So many of them recognize what is happening.
Great.
Thank you. My name is Haruna Jalo Waziri. I'm the CEO for the CSD in Nigeria. Planning to come to this conference, I'd marked this particular panel to be where I would be. We're trying to also do POCs around exchanges, even though I think you have an OTC, Mr. Ahmed. I believe you started with an OTC market. So in doing that, I woke up this morning with the news around $600 million being stolen of crypto in a gaming company. I don't know that you're aware of that. It sends, if I'm talking to my regulators this morning and I'm saying, we're trying to build an infrastructure around trading crypto in Nigeria, and then the regulator is looking at $600 million stolen from last night, it sends the wrong signal. The question is, what are we doing to give, the regulator's whole mindset is that this is not safe. And the news that came out yesterday showed that, it's been hacked, $600 million from a gaming company. How do you how do I put it now, change the narrative as it is around, the possibility? I know, normal banks also lose money, but this is new. People are scared of it, and then this is happening. How do you do that? Then the second question, Mr. Ahmed, is around when you were building last year the OTC market for the crypto, even though I know you were focused on commodities, what are the first three things you did in terms of building that market that you think are important that we can take home today? Thank you.
So thank you for your question. I was 2 days ago with your Minister of Mines. I showed him the Almas Tower. We had a good meeting, and I took him to the expo. I took him to the Nigerian Expo Pavilion as well. And I did take him to our crypto center. And he trusts the dollar. He wants cash in his pocket. He likes to see things. That's why I guess he's the Minister of Mine. He wants to see the products. And I don't have a favorite. Without the gold industry, we would never have financed the Almas, Diamond, and Silver Tower. We raised a $200 million gold sukuk, Sharia compliant, rated A stable by S&P in 2000, end of 2003 or beginning of 2004. I think it was 2004. We sold Almas Tower, the tallest office tower, to end users in 7 hours. This tower is today still standing, filled with diamond tiers and commodities business, including the crypto center. Dubai, a few months ago, announced that it took over Antwerp as the #1 rough diamond center in the world. Polished diamonds will follow. This position will be held for the next 4 or 5 years, in my opinion, if not more. But that was based on trust, and that was based on a track record. We then financed the Uptown Tower, a 79-story building, 80 maybe. You could see it as you leave the expo. That did not need us to raise a $200 million gold sukuk. We worked, I believe, with Dubai Islamic Bank to put the finance in place. The tower was delivered. We used the contractor Besix. In my opinion, the best contractor in the UAE today. It's been available in the UAE. It's a Belgian contractor that's been here before the UAE was formed. We are selling and leasing now a delivered tower. That's the credibility. It takes time to build credibility. And, Dubai is one of the fastest growing cities. Now, coming back to your question, what can you do? Education. I'm going to the NFT week, and I wish I could be in the Miami Bitcoin conference, but I have a business trip to Brazil. My colleagues will be around there. You need to educate, you need to learn. And once you understand it, you get involved. Now, there has been criminal activities. You need to understand who you're putting your trust in. Are you putting your money in the wrong custodial account? You need to see the track record, which is why, so far, Bitcoin has worked well. But the issues are somebody losing their e-wallet, etc. This is the answer I give. I've been asked the question, Ahmed, do you have Bitcoin and Ethereum? I would say no. Well, how come? You're promoting. Yes, I am the weakest link. I lose my business, my credit card or my account or something. I call the bank to send me a replacement. If I lose my e-wallet, I'm done. So I don't know how to handle this. I had the discussion with MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor's office, and they said we could do a custodial account. My problem is I don't trust people. But then again, with Lyco and Cyprus Bank, you know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So you have to learn. And the dollar hasn't fared really well, I believe.
Yep. So thank you. I think we are very much out of time now, but we are here. We can take one-on-one questions. I think there is still a lot of interest from people to ask few more questions. We will do that one-to-one. Thank you very much, everyone. And let's conclude this panel discussion. Thank you, the panelists.